All right, welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Jay. I got another special guest in the building. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, I am Kenyati, or Kenya H. Yadi, Eye Candy, as people call me. I am from Chicago. Should I say my title and everything?
Go
Y'all
ahead,
need to know all
just
that?
run through it. Just run through it.
Okay. I'm from Chicago. I am a marketing manager, and I'm also the owner of a lash brand, Lash Candy.
Okay, where did you grow up at in Chicago?
I grew up out west. I am a 290 princess. I lived out south though. So I grew up out west, and then I moved out south when I was about 13 or something like that.
Okay.
So I went to high school and stuff at Simeon out south. But then I continued to kick it and hang out out west.
But both, you got the best of both worlds because you
Basically.
got the west side and you grew up on the south side. So
Literally.
So when you was at Simeon, now this was after Derrick Rose and all of them went to Simeon. So who was hooping at Simeon when you was there?
When I was at Simeon, we had Jabari Parker.
Okay.
He was the year ahead of me.
Okay.
We had Jabari Parker. We had Kendrick Nunn. A couple more people. We had a decent little lineup.
Man, I wanted to go to Simeon so bad because I went to Harlan. You feel me?
Oh, okay.
And, I played baseball growing up, and Simeon had a good baseball program, so they tried to get me into Simeon, but it was too late. And I didn't even know what the fuck Harlan was. I just ended up being stuck at Harlan. But I always wanted to go to Simeon, and we always had battles, whether it was basketball or baseball.
I feel like we was into it with everybody all the time. Not into it, but like we always had friendly competitions and stuff with everybody all the time.
What was it like going to Simeon?
I love Simeon, to be honest. Like, my first year getting there, I was very shy, like, in middle school and stuff. So I was that, like, quiet, timid, shy girl who kind of just did her work and went home. But going to Simeon really broke me out my shell. Like, I think high school is, like, what really, really benefited me just because there it was kind of like, Simeon was one of those popular schools. Like, we had the basketball team, we had the Nike sponsorship, we had so much stuff. So it was like, to go there, was really kind of almost like a privilege in a sense. And it was like everybody was there. Like, we always had stuff going on. We always had pep rallies. We always had, like, really super fun activities and stuff. So going through all of that and, like, meeting the people I met at Simeon and, like, doing pep rallies and going to basketball games and like it really helped me kind of grow out my shell and start really like upping my communication skills at a young age. Just from always being around people, like I became much more social than I was when I first came into high school.
Riding past Simeon now, it definitely don't look like a school that's on the south side. It looks like a multi-million-dollar school.
They put a lot of money in that building.
I mean, look at everybody that came through
that building.
And that basketball program, like I say, it's been one of the best basketball programs in Chicago for a very long time. And like you say, they got the Nike sponsorship.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of money coming through Simeon.
It's a lot of money coming through Simeon.
Now, you went to Northern, right? Or Western?
I went to Western.
Western, okay.
Yep, WIU.
Now, what made you want to go to Western?
So I went to Western kind of like, everybody at my school was going to Southern Illinois University. They was either going to Southern or they were going to Eastern. Really those were like the two main schools. Southern, and Northern. Southern, Eastern, and Northern. And so I was kind of like, I want to go somewhere where I don't really know nobody. Where nobody's really like, where I haven't heard of yet of a lot of people going to. And so I did a whole bunch of like applications because to even graduate, you had to do like a minimum number of college applications regardless. So I had applied to like all of the schools on the state level, definitely. And state schools, they give you more money. Like it's cheaper basically.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much just had to pick between like most of the state schools. I think between Northern and Western. And everybody was going to Northern, but they were giving me a decent amount of money, but Western ended up being the cheapest. So I was like, well, it's the cheapest and I don't really know people here, but I've heard of the school. So I'm just go there. And it ended up working out.
Now, when you graduated high school and you decided to go to college, like, did you know what major you was going to chase or you was just going to college because, like, it was the next step?
It was kind of both. So, like, I went to college because I wanted to get out the city. Like, I was like, well, I want to do something. And then most of my family, like my mom, she was in school at the time. Most of my family, they're really into education. So I kind of felt like college was like an easy way for me to, one, get out the city, and I'm on point. I'm on task to do something. I don't know what exactly I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to work towards something. And so at that time, I was really into fashion. For a long time, I was really into fashion, like designing, merchandising, and styling all through high school. That was like where my interest was at. And so I initially went into school as a fashion merchandising major.
Did Simeon help with that? Like it was a class or something catered around that?
Not really. And Simeon was a career academy. So when I say career academy, it was basically like at Simeon, that was one of the few schools in the city where they focused on career enhancement, so like building up your career. So you could choose these different majors that was almost like you was in college. And it would be like hair was one, technology was one, which was mine, hair, technology, automotive. It's like 7 or 8 different programs that you could get into. And so mine was technology, so it was totally different than fashion. And I really kind of just did that one because I was like, well, it wasn't something I was crazy about. Like, I never wanted to work in technology, but I was like, I could learn how to do Excel and like Word and like all the programs and stuff really good in this program. So I'm just going to do it just because. So no, they didn't really help out with that. But what I will say though, Simeon was also one of the few schools that did not have a uniform. So we didn't have to wear uniforms, so everybody just came dressing and styling every day. So that did kind of help in the sense of like, I had to get up and find something to wear every day.
You had to be fly.
I had to come a little fresh. That was that type of school. So
when you do make it to college, like tell me like what's that first year of figuring it out like?
My first year, so I didn't really know anybody. I had a cousin that went there, and he was like a year ahead of me. But we weren't that close. Like our common thing was that he went to Western. Like I never hung out with him outside of that. And so it was really like a lot of just figuring it out. I was still I was just breaking out of my shell. Like I wasn't as shy as I used to be, but I also wasn't used to being around all of these different types of people and stuff like that. So I lived in a dorm hall, and of course I shared the floor with all girls. And I was pretty like, I was reserved, but I would go out and stuff at the same time. So like I wasn't the over popular girl, but I also wasn't like a complete lame. So I think my first year, I actually got into several fights. I got into fights. My grades were decent, and I had started making friends, losing friends. That first year was like a real up and down type of thing. But overall, like, I do remember at one point I was ready to go home. Like, I remember calling my dad, like, I don't want to be here. And it was because I got into a fight and I got in trouble. But I remember calling my dad, like, I didn't want to be here anymore and stuff. And he was like, oh, you're going to be okay. Like, just stick it out. And I ended up sticking it out. And I ended up meeting, like, some of my lifelong friends in college, too, that year. So it was up and down, but I figured it out eventually.
College is definitely a stepping stone that I think a lot of people should branch off into. Even if you don't finish college, like you should definitely go away to college and just live that dorm life, because it teaches you how to sort of fend for yourself, you know. Because I went to Jackson State University, and
okay, Jackson State is a nice school.
Man, this was way different than Chicago. But it was a lot of Chicago at the school, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, I just went to college just to go to college. My homie told me, he was like, man, you need to go to the financial aid department to make sure they got your financial aid. I was like, bro, what? Of course they got my financial aid. If they want this money, they gonna get my financial aid. So I never took his advice. I didn't go to financial aid. Then I found out that they didn't get my financial aid, and I owed them $5,000. And I'm like, damn, that's some bullshit. You feel me? But that was like me not taking care of my responsibility, because there wasn't nobody there that was gonna do the shit for me. So I learned that off the jump. Like, bro, you an adult now and shit. You gotta take care of your business. Now, at what point did you get into marketing?
So I got into marketing. My major, I graduated with my degree in marketing. That is what my bachelor's is in. Around my sophomore year, as I was in the fashion merchandising program, I was still thinking I was going to go into styling and buying and selling as a fashion merchandiser. And I had came home for like some type of break, and I was talking to my aunt, And I was telling her that I was in the fashion program and everything. And she was like, you should do marketing instead because it's more broad. So say, for instance, if you don't want to do merchandising anymore when you graduate, and you have a marketing degree, you can go into almost anything under that umbrella because fashion merchandising kind of falls under the marketing umbrella. And so I was like, that kind of does make sense because I also looked around in that industry and I saw like it wasn't something that you could quick fast get a high paying job and everything in either. Right. And so also at that time I was just getting into entrepreneurship. So that was another reason where I was kind of like, well, it wouldn't hurt for me to just learn marketing, So that's what actually made me switch my major, and it was the best decision I could have made. I'm so happy I followed her advice.
Talk about jumping into the entrepreneurship. Like what prompted that decision?
So I would say like I've always been into selling stuff. Like I always sold stuff. That was just something I would do. Even from like when I was a teenager, I was always selling stuff. And then when I was in college, what really probably created Lash Candy, honestly, where it started off at, I was selling sunglasses. It were these like bedazzled sunglasses that had like these rhinestones and really pretty gems and stuff on them that were popular like one summer, like 2017 summer or something like that. And they were super expensive. They were like $100 some, $200. Like they were super expensive.
Just for you to buy them?
Mm-hmm. Like it was something I wanted, like for myself. Oh, like okay. I just wanted to buy these sunglasses for me. And they were so expensive, and I was like, I could make these myself. And so I ended up going to Michael's and like to some craft stores, and I ended up creating my own sunglasses, like the ones I wanted online, but it was way cheaper for me to create them myself.
Right.
And somebody liked them, and I was like, oh, I could also sell these. So I created a business from that, selling sunglasses. So I had my sunglass company, and it was named Official SBY. And then also right before that, I was selling these T-shirts. Like I was always just selling something.
So you just a hustler.
Yeah, I was just a hustler in college. And so I was doing both of those. And then the summertime came, and I was like, darn, like I can't sell sunglasses no more because, not the summer, the wintertime came actually. And I was like, I can't sell my sunglasses no more because it's the wintertime. And so I was like, well, I got to do something else because I started this business. And then I was like, well, I can sell lashes because I also did makeup on campus. And so I was like, I can sell lashes because I'm really into that. And then that's how my lash brand was born. And I continued working on growing that.
All right, let's focus on the lash brand. How difficult was it for you to find the quality? Because I know it's different. I don't know much about lashes, but yeah. I know Walgreens sells some dollar lashes, you feel me? And then I know it's more expensive lashes. So what was that process like from finding the quality?
That probably took me about a month. It started off with YouTube. So I was always, like I said, I was into makeup already. So I would watch makeup tutorials and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I want to do lashes. Let me figure out where I could get some lashes from. So I literally went on YouTube and I typed in, where do you buy wholesale lashes? And then all the vendor sites popped up, like AliExpress came up, Alibaba came up. A whole bunch of different stuff came up, and it was girls who like bought wholesale lashes. Their videos came up, and I just watched a ton of videos, and a lot of them tagged their vendors.
Right.
And so since I already saw that they were backing up these vendors, I'm like, okay, this is where I get my test orders from. So I found like 3 vendors from YouTube, and I ordered lashes, and then I waited till they came, and then I tested them all out on myself, and I tested them on my friends. And then after like a couple of days or a week, I had already figured out which vendor I wanted to use. And so I didn't have a lot of money at that time, so I ordered probably like 10. I didn't order a lot at all. I ordered maybe like 10 styles, and then I was selling those. I sold mostly to my friends and people on campus. At that time, I was just diving into e-commerce. So like I had created a website for myself. I took some pictures and stuff, and I was trying to build up the Instagram. And then that was pretty much where it went. I stuck with that vendor over time, and over time I went back and I was able to buy more and more and more, and then it just went from there.
Now explain the process of just starting to actually blowing the fuck up, right? Because a lot of people jump off into the entrepreneur lifestyle and they think it's going to be easy. And that 1 month turned into, oh no, I'm done with this shit. You feel me? So what was the process of like actually growing this brand and actually having people support your brand?
So it basically, like I said, it started off with just my friends, people in college were buying lashes from me because there wasn't nobody else like on campus at that time that was selling lashes. And so I would just have my friends like take pictures, tag me. I used them to post on the Instagram. And I would take pictures and use my own content. And at that time, I had no idea about like influencers and like how to do Instagram ads and all of this stuff. And so for a while, I was kind of at like this weird standstill of like, I'm making some money because my friends and people that know me are buying from me, but I'm not lit yet. And so it was one day, literally, I was at Target because I was still working my jobs in between. And I was at Target during winter break, and I was telling my friend, like, I don't want to be here. I really need my business to take off. Like, I don't want to work this job. And she was like, you need to start working with influencers. And this is my best friend to this day. Her name's Casina. I met her in college. She was like, you need to start working with influencers. I'm going to send you a couple for you to reach out to. And at that time, like, I don't know if you know about like makeup Instagram and stuff, but at that time, makeup Instagram was like at its peak.
Right.
And like YouTubers were like doing makeup tutorials all the time. All the makeup companies were like just getting like a whole bunch of traffic and attention. The makeup YouTubers, the beauty gurus, like that community was huge. And so she pretty much introduced me into that. And then I started learning like who the it girls on Instagram were and like who the it girls on YouTube were. And I just started sending them a bunch of DMs like, I have this lash brand. I really love your content. Would you be interested in wearing some of my products? And like, I probably sent that DM 20 times a day. Like, no kidding. I sent that DM a lot. And I just reached out to all of these different people, and I was asking pretty much just to send them free product and what they posted. And they were like micro influencers and then like bigger influencers too. And so some of them didn't respond. And then some of them, a few did respond. And those were the girls who I sent product to. Right. And like these were girls who had like 5, 10, 20, 30,000 followers. Like a real big range from small to big. And they already were trying to build up their own content and build up their own following. So they were like, yeah, you can send me product because this is giving me product to do my content with. Yeah. So we were kind of helping each other. And from there, like I kept doing that, and more girls started posting us and more people started finding out about my brand. And I started getting an influx of orders. And I still remember like the day that really like changed it for me. There was this girl named MUA Brianna from like California, and she was Hispanic, and I sent her lashes, and she applied the lashes on her live, and she had like 40,000 followers, but they were super engaged followers. Yeah. And she applied the lashes on her live, and people started asking her like, oh, where are those lashes from? And she said my brand and pinned it. And then I started getting this influx of orders, and I was in class. And I was in class at Western, and I was like, where are all these orders coming from? Like, nobody even knows me. And then I saw a DM from her, and she was like, hey, everybody was asking about your lashes, and da-da-da-da. And then I seen that all the orders were coming from California. Right. And I was like, wow.
Let me ask you this. When that moment did happen, were you prepared for that moment? Because like you say, it caught you off guard.
I was not prepared because I didn't have a lot of money. So I was never buying my lashes in bulk.
Right.
So I had sold out real quick. Like after like the 6th order, I had sold out. And it was a specific lash called the eye candy lash, which is my most popular style.
Right.
And that was the one she put on. So that was the one everybody was ordering. And it had sold out super quick. And one thing I learned is that you're never supposed to sell out, like not during a time like that. So I was like, okay, I just put a whole bunch of more lashes on the site, but I didn't have them in my hand. And I had literally placed the order the next 2 days, and I used the money that I got from all the orders to place an order for a bigger order of lashes so that I could ship them all out. And so I probably made like, and that day I probably made like $500, which was great for me. Nice. And I literally made the order, like I said, 2 days later. So I was not prepared at all. But I got prepared.
Let's talk about your iconic post when you had all your orders on the ground around you. Like, what are those moments like as an entrepreneur? Because, like you say, you at one point you couldn't even afford to buy more than a certain amount. So, what are those moments like when you sitting and you watching everything that you ever dreamed of right there?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of crazy because it's like, at that time, I was seeing everybody else post like that. And I was like, I'm going to be that girl one day. Like, that's going to be me eventually. and I can't wait till that's me. And that was like all I wanted to get to. And then I got to it, and I was tired. I was exhausted. And don't get me wrong, I was happy. I was so appreciative because I was like, I've really built this business from the ground up, you know? And then the other side of that was just like figuring out where to scale to. So like I was just kind of always on the next thing. And I think a lot of times in my business, I didn't get the chance to sit and just be happy for what I had in that moment. Because I was always so busy on the next thing, and I was always just tired and exhausted. A lot of times when I took those pictures, it'll be after hours of packing orders myself. And a lot of people don't talk about that side of entrepreneurship, you know, of like just having to sit in the house for hours and pack orders, or like having to figure stuff out, being behind on orders, like that type of stuff. So it was kind of like it was a good moment for sure, because I finally got to where I was trying to get to. And then it was like, okay, now you got to keep this business afloat. Like, it's very easy to start a business. It's very hard to maintain a business. And that was something I really learned during those times, definitely.
So how do you learn to adjust? Because all that is you learning on the fly. You know what I'm saying? And learning how to accept those orders, learning how to package those orders, get those orders out as soon as possible. So how do you maintain the focus of, like you say, maintaining this business when you up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and you just got done, and you got to wake up at 8 to send these packages off? How do you maintain
and that was pretty much my day.
How do you maintain that mind state of, okay, this is what I asked for, I got to make this happen?
It's honestly discipline. It's really discipline. Something that I always preach is like, you're not always going to be motivated, but you'll always have your discipline. And that's what like kept me afloat, honestly, and still keeps me afloat to this day. Is really just having the discipline instilled in me of like, okay, you got to get this done. But then I'm also learning that I have to make time to grow my business, like, and that's what I've been doing the past couple of months, that I've been kind of like taking a break away from my lash brand, is I've been doing a lot of research. Like, I've been learning ways to scale my company. And a lot of times we get so wrapped up in working in our business, and that's kind of what I was doing. It's like every day I'm working in the business, I'm packing orders, I'm doing customer service, I'm making sure I post on the internet, and I'm not doing anything to scale the brand up higher to the next level. And because that takes a different type of amount of work. That's research. That's me sitting, learning about TikTok. Who are the influencers on YouTube right now? Who is it that I could do a collaboration with? Like, that takes sitting down and really just putting your time into literally doing research and development, versus me sitting there packing orders. Or you need to get to the point where you can hire somebody to do most of the working in your business while you work on the business and taking it to new levels. And so I really had to learn the difference in between that. And that's helped me a lot. Like, now that I've been taking a break and I've been able to sit back and just do that, that's helped me a lot for sure.
With you doing so many things, like, do you have, like, on Monday, I'm just going to only focus on this. On Tuesday, I'm going to focus on this. Like, how do you break your days down with so much going on?
That's kind of what I do. I look at the week, and then I'll say, like, okay, on Monday, I'm going to focus on my lash brand. On Tuesday, I'm going to focus on Flex. On Wednesday, I'm going to focus on this. So I usually try to break the week up based on what I got ahead of me. And then I'll say, okay, on this day, we're going to do this and just this. That's what you're going to focus on. That's all you see on this day. Like, I got to really constantly tell myself that a lot of the time, because I'll get distracted. But now, like, this year, honestly, I really kind of, like, set the tone for the year of it's only a few things I'm focusing on. Like, with me having my lash brand, now I'm kind of navigating away from just being a lash brand owner to being a marketing strategist, because that's what I really want. Like, eventually I want to have a real marketing agency. And so it's like I'm kind of stepping a foot out of my business just a little bit to kind of really focus and work on that while I'm still growing my business, though, and giving it attention and everything. But just working towards, like, my long-term goals has been really taking a lot more of my attention this year, too.
All right, now you spoke on Flex. Now, how do you go from running your lash company to now doing marketing and managing artists?
That was a big leap. That was a really big leap. And at first it was real kind of like a little confusing. And now I feel like I kind of got it figured out, because it's like, yeah, I have my lash brand, but that's not all I am. I really learned that I didn't want to own a lash brand forever. Right. Like, I didn't want that to be my title forever. I learned that in running my lash brand, what I really enjoyed the most was marketing. And so that was where I was like, okay, I do want to be a marketing strategist, but I have this business and I love this business. Still, it's like my baby and I want to grow it and everything, but I want to move on to other things that also fulfill me as well. So it's really kind of like, it's a little bit, it's different. It's complex because it's kind of like one day I'm looking at beauty stuff and YouTubers, and then the next day I'm looking at rollout campaigns, and I'm listening to music and trying to pick out singles and stuff like that. So it's kind of like two different worlds. But then I just learned like these are just the two things that I really love and enjoy. So now it's starting to kind of come natural to me, honestly. And I honestly think a lot of things I learned in my business are helping me now. Like, I learned about social media and algorithms, and like I learned a ton of stuff about marketing. And so, like, even just an example of that, when me and Flex had the Glory Road pop-up shop, when we had the pop-up shop maybe back in December, it was a lot of things that I was able to apply to helping him put the pop-up shop together that I learned from my lash brand. Right. And just helping him with his own brand from me having a business and having a Shopify and stuff like that. So, like, I really think that my lash brand kind of helped prepare me for a lot of the stuff that I'm going into now and that I'm kind of transitioning into.
Do you think is more beneficial for you to be extremely hands-on? Because like you say, you choosing singles, you helping with rollouts, you basically sound like a record label to me. So is it more better for you to be more hands-on with it than to be, laid back and just saying, oh, you should do this, you should do this?
Yeah, I have to be extremely hands-on, like super hands-on. And it's kind of like for me to do what I do, like me and Flex talk every day. And any artist I work closely with, like me and Blessing, we talk a lot all the time. I have to talk to them and work with them so much just because the marketing aspect of your career is super big, right? Like, that's looking at your social media, it's rollouts, it's picking the singles, like, it's a real hands-on job, and you gotta really have chemistry with who you working with too to really be able to do your job the best. Like, that was something I learned over the past 2 years of me working with Flex. Is like, in the beginning, it was kind of like I was just helping him with his Instagram, and then now it then transitioned into like a overall marketing managing role, just of like me helping with clothes and like me helping with campaigns and rollouts. Is way bigger than social media, right? It's kind of like your overall marketing of everything you're doing in your career. And so, yeah, it really does cause me to be hand-on. And like we disagree on stuff all the time. He don't always be with the stuff that I'm with. I don't always be with stuff that he's with. And so it definitely requires a lot of communication and a lot of like sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone to get stuff done.
Now, me personally, I've been in tune with Flex for a very long time. I like to say from the beginning. Now, but I have seen a drastic difference in, like, I would say his audience. Like, it seemed like more people are aware of Flex now, and it seemed like over the past 2 years, you'd be like, man, all these people, I know for a fact y'all seen Flex. Y'all, it's impossible not to have seen this man. But now you seeing these people that basically was ignoring him 2-3 years ago. Now they are in his comments. They liking and sharing all his content. And like Lil Baby just dropped 2 singles. He teased one of the videos, you know what I'm saying? But he basically just dropped these 2 songs out the blue. And I like to see, I see a lot of that in Flex with how he's dropping his music now. He's not telling you it's coming, not telling you a release date, none of that. He literally posting a little snippet on IG, and then you wake up one morning and it's out. But you see the gradual difference in Flex and how he presents his music to the people. It's a little bit more polished now.
Yeah.
So would you say that polish came from you?
Yeah. I would say that in a way. When I met him, he was lit already in my eyes. Like, he was definitely lit. And what we kind of met at was like, I was like, I really like what you got going on, and this is where I see I could add value at. And it was like, when I met him, he probably only had 4 or 5 pictures on his Instagram. He was not like, and he's still not an internet person either, but he was not like super internet. And we wasn't doing things the same way that we're doing it now. And so I would say that's probably where my touch comes in at like presentation. And like, I'm a real person, like I believe in leading with mystery. So I might kick off a rollout where we might say question mark, question mark, question mark, like just to get people in tune. But all of that stuff will be planned and strategized. But it's planned in a way to get people to look at us and to get attention. So I would say, I added a little touch to him.
Now, I know clients reach out to you, but how picky are you with actually who you work with?
These days, right now, I am super picky. Last year, I was kind of on this thing of where I was like working with, I ain't gonna say anybody, but like it wasn't hard to get me to work on something with you. Like I had a fee, you pay my fee, and we worked out whatever we was gonna work out. This year, I really have my things that I really want to focus on and work on building, because I feel like when you touch too many things and you're working on too much at once, you give in 10%, 10%, 10%, when if you was to focus on one or two things, you could give those 100%. And so that's kind of like the mode I'm in right now. So right now I'm not working with like any other artists outside of Flex, outside of Blessing, and a few people that's like really close with me. And then as far as like marketing and stuff, I only offer 1 hour consulting now. So no more social media management, no rollout campaigns. Like you can't really book any of that stuff right now, at least, just because I want to focus on building up my lash brand. I want to focus on building up their careers. And that's like really just what I want to work on for like the next year or two. Because I feel like once I could say I did it, you know, versus as like, I can't really do a lot of the things I want to do right now because I don't think I have the credibility just yet. Like I'm still kind of like learning in a sense, and I'm just self-aware enough to acknowledge that. And I'm like, once I say like, I've done this, that, and the third, then I have that credibility and I could go on and really build a big agency because I'll have that experience pretty much, you know? So yeah, right now you can't really book too much. You can get me on the phone for an hour, but that's pretty much about it.
You know, it's crazy that you say that because now, like you spoke on influencers earlier. Now, if you go on YouTube, more than likely you're going to see an ad of somebody that's trying to sell you something, and they trying to get every dollar in their pocket that they can to the point that they renting out penthouses, they renting out Lamborghinis just to stand in front of them. And you had you saying, nah, I'm going to step back and I'm going to redefine myself and I'm going to polish myself to the point that basically it's undeniable of what I've done. Like, where did that mindset come from? Because like I say, a lot of people just give me your money, let's make it happen. But it seemed like you more of the, I want to create things that the world falls in love with more than getting a money grab.
Yeah, it's really like I just took a step back of what I wanted out of my career. Like, I know I want to have a great marketing agency one day. And I timed that to happen around the age of 30, 31. I'm 26 right now. And so that gives me 4 or 5 years. And it's like, I'm not in a rush to do that because at 30, I'm going to still be young, you know? And I feel like that's when I've had the experience that I need to have what I see having. Like, I look at what I want to have like as a Rock Nation or almost like a label. And that's something that takes time and foundation. It's like, yeah, I could rush it now and I could charge people $1,000+ to do rollouts and to do X, Y, and Z. Or I could work on the things that I really genuinely believe in and build them up and actually feel more fulfilled at the end of the day. And that was kind of like what my choices were. And look over the years, so like I had been working on stuff, like a whole bunch of different projects with people, and I just didn't feel fulfilled though. Like it wasn't, everything I was working on wasn't things that I believed in. And I'm like, I want to go home happy at the end of the day. Like yeah, you got to make some money, and I'm always make some money because I'm a hustler, but I'm not going to you can't think about the money when it comes to your long-term goals. Because at the end of the day, like I could keep doing that and giving 10% to everything, I'm going to be stuck right there. When if I build what I believe in already and I build that up to be something so great, then I could do what I want to do, you know?
Was it a hard decision to choose you?
Kinda. Because sometimes I don't want to turn people down, you know? And like, I was making good money too. I was definitely making good money, but it was just like, If I'm doing all of this work just to make whatever amount of money I was making, and then I'm giving 10% to the things I really believe in, like my lash brand or like working with Flex, I'm not going to build those things up that really got the best potential. I'm not going to have the energy to work on those things. So I'd rather have the energy to work on what I know could be big, what I really believe in, than just giving 10% to all the little things just so I could have a few extra dollars in my pocket. Like, nah, I'd rather step back and do what makes sense for the long term.
Now that all 50 states seem to be open again, you feel me? It seems like nobody is speaking of COVID anymore. Like, let's go back 2 years ago. Like, how did COVID affect your brand and how you handle business?
COVID, like, definitely played a part. Like, first I was moving to LA, and I already had it set in my mind I was going to move in March when COVID struck bad. And so people were like, you shouldn't move because it's COVID. Like, this is not a good time to be moving anywhere. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to LA. Like, I just had my mind set on that. So that was kind of like a struggle. And then also, like, at that time with my lash brand, I was getting all of my lashes and stuff from overseas, from China. So when COVID struck, all the factories had shut down. And it was really hard to get stuff. So I had like an influx of demand pretty much that I couldn't meet because I wasn't able to get my product for like maybe like a month or two. Like, it was a minute. And so I had to explain to customers delays and everything like that, and like try to keep people up to date on communication, and like that really like put a test to me being a business owner. So it was really those two things, and then it kind of played the effect on my mental health too. I think just like me I was always like, I used to love traveling, used to love going places, going outside, and like from going to that to having to stay in the house almost all day because you can't go nowhere. And then like not being able to see family because I don't want to get nobody else sick or anything. If I get something, like that sucked for a little while. Because I'm somebody who likes to go out. I like to kick it at my grandma's house. I like to go out with friends. So it was definitely a weird period in time. And I think a lot of people didn't know what was going to happen. And then seeing people like losing their jobs and like all type of stuff that was going on at that time definitely played a part on my mental health. And like, so I was really just trying to stay focused. And I was thinking in my head like, this going to pass one day. Just stay focused.
Early in the interview, you said you didn't know how to celebrate yourself because you was always looking forward. Have you learned how to celebrate yourself and enjoy these moments and enjoy your success?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm definitely learning, if anything. Like, I'm not really the person that want to go out to the club and like pop bottles and stuff all the time because I don't feel like I got anything to celebrate that big yet, to be doing that every weekend. But I do celebrate myself in more of kind of like a self-care sense. So like even this year for my birthday, I went to Lake Tahoe because I wanted to snowboard and like I just wanted to be around nature and stuff like that. So like that wasn't something that was really big, but it was big for me because I got to like relax. I got to do something fun outside of like the norm, going to the club and stuff. So I think, yeah, I've learned to celebrate myself a bit better, just kind of in my own way. That makes me happy.
Looking back on life, like a lot of people say, when I grow up, I'm going to get to this level, or I'm going to do these things. Like, could you see yourself, like as a younger kid, did you see yourself becoming the person you are today?
No. No, I don't think so. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a singer. So that was one. But then once I got past that, I thought that I was just going to go have a nice job and have a family. And that was just be it. Like, I didn't imagine owning a beauty brand. I didn't imagine being in the music industry, being a marketing manager and doing things. Hell no. I had no idea that was going to happen. But I always did. I will say, like, I had a big imagination, though. Like, even though I didn't imagine those things early on, I also didn't really know what I was going to end up doing. And because of the parents I had, like, my mom was somebody who really, she, like, pushed me to the furthest extent. She made it be very clear that I could do anything I ever wanted to do. So I grew up knowing that the sky was the limit because I always had somebody that was speaking life into me. So I didn't really know what I would do, but I also never felt like I had limitations either.
Do you have any other goals that you want to check off your list other than starting a marketing agency?
I really want to work for a label. I really want to work for a music label. That's something that I'm kind of working on now. It's kind of like navigating from 100% out of the beauty industry. Well, really not even 100%, but navigating my foot outside of that industry a little bit and really putting more energy into music because I'm learning it's something that I really, really like to do. And something I'm really, really interested in. So definitely want to work for a music label. I want to start my own agency and maybe even my own label one day. Like I could see myself doing something like that. Not really. I think those are like my top things. And I definitely want to grow my lash brand. Like, and my goal right now is to grow it, to sell it to distribution eventually. So I'm really looking at that business with less emotion and more from a business perspective now. And so, yeah, those are pretty much like the things on the top of my list.
How difficult is it to be a black woman in America? Like I've asked this question one time, but how difficult is it to be a black woman in America?
It's different. It's different. It's difficult. It's confusing sometimes. Because I think being black in general, you face a lot, but being a black woman, you face a lot. Because it's kind of just like, you know, people always say that we're the least protected out of everyone. And at first I didn't really understand that. And now as I'm growing older and I'm like getting into my career and I'm like really on my own a lot of the time, I'm seeing it more and more because it's like it's so many odds that are like stacked up against us. And people have so many ideas of who we are and who we should be. And like even in like working in a corporate setting and stuff like that has showed me like we really kind of got to go that extra step just to prove ourselves. Like even working in the music industry, like every industry I've been working in so far, it seems like I always got to go that extra step just to prove myself or prove what I can do and prove what I'm worth. And sometimes I kind of hate that. It's like we got to work a little bit harder. But I'm getting used to it, and like I'm not mad about it either because I feel like I'm always equipped for whatever comes my way. But it does suck sometimes, like knowing that I'm not gonna get the same treatment, the same privilege, or you might not get the same salary, even like the small things like that as the man sitting next to you. You're not gonna get. You're gonna have to work a little bit harder than him, and that sucks. But it is what it is. We figure it out.
All right, now my favorite question: if you can give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Advice to my younger self would be stay focused and stay the course. Because I think like my younger self, and when I say younger self, I mean like from a kid, teenager, all the way up to me turning 23, 24. I think I dealt with a lot of like not knowing my potential all the time, and kind of like sometimes I would get discouraged and stuff like that. And then I would have these thoughts of like, kind of like, how can I explain? Kind of like just discouraging myself of like, I don't know if this is really meant for me. When in actuality, it is meant for me. And so it's sometimes you got to really like put yourself in the mindset of if you just stay focused and you stay the course, you're going to get to where you got to go. And like, you just got to tell yourself that. So I think that's what I would tell my younger self is just like, stay the course, it's going to work out. Because everything always ends up working out.
All right. Tell the people how they can get in tune with you, stay in tune with you, buy your ebooks, book a consultation, anything you got going on.
To get in tune with me, you can definitely hit me up on Instagram at iCandii, IKANDII, 2 underscores. You can also hit me up on Twitter. I'm always on there a lot. Same, well, actually spelled differently, iCandii, KANDII. And then you can also hit the link in my bio. That's my link tree, and it has the list of all services that I do offer at the moment. All of my businesses, products, everything is on that link tree, so you can just tap that and see everything that you're looking for.
All right, I want to say I appreciate you for sliding through, chopping it up with me.
Of course.
I know because you stationed in LA, but you come back and forth to Chicago. So just to get a little bit of your time while you're in Chicago, I appreciate it, because I know how hard it is to just carve out time where, you know what I'm saying, you have to do this or I have to do that. So like I say, I appreciate you for just coming through and chopping it up with me.
Anytime. I love Chicago. This is home. This will always be home. So anytime.
Once again, I appreciate you. And this has been another episode of Conversations with Jay.
All right.